To keep yourself updated, subscribe to Indigo Learn and click the bell icon and download our app OneFin to start learning on the go.
Hello friends, so today I am here with you to talk about some very interesting analysis. CA foundation results of June 2003 attempt came out very recently, and we also have the results of CA intermediate and final, the exams for which were held in May. Based on these results, based on the trends of these results for the last 15 odd years, we have come up with an analysis, and analysis throws some very interesting results. What are these? What are the past percentages historically and trends? Then typically they say, CA pass percentage, since the time I have been studying or Suraj has been studying, they have said that, pass percentage is 1 to 3%. I will show you how it is. It is partially true, but still it is true. And finally, what will new syllabus do to these pass percentages? Will the pass percentage go up? Will pass percentage go down? Have a look at the full video to know what we are talking about. Right. So, we are going to discuss three things today. What are the historical pass percentages and what trends do they show? So, if you look at CA foundation results, friends, if you look at CA foundation results, a fancy graph, right? This entire area under the blue, which is shaded in slot of bluish gray, this is the student count. This is the student count. You see here, the student count came down and then has gone up. It has come down and gone up, and it was at peak. Where was it at peak? It was peak in which year? I think it was in May 10 till November 14. It was at peak. And what was the peak number? We had 1,40,000 students writing CA foundation each attempt. 1.4 lakhs. And today, what was it for the last attempt? Was around 1,22,000 or something like that, 122K. So, we actually came down and we are moved up. Please note, this is very important, very critical. We had a very poor performance sometime here in 2021 when the exams were delayed and all of that. But otherwise, there was a strong downturn after 15. There was a strong downturn after 15, especially once that CPT was removed. But if you see, friends, we are on an uptrend now. We are on an uptrend for the last three attempts. So, if you look at this, 21, 22, 23, we are above the 100,000 mark or 1 lakh mark. So, left hand side axis talks about the student count and right hand side axis talks about the pass percentage. So, I am tearing up this page. See here, what has been the pass percentage? The dotted blue line is basically the average, 15-year average. I have data from November 2005. November 2005. So, 18 years actually. So, 18-year average is 32%. 32% is the pass percentage of CA students in CA foundation exams over the last 18 years. Did you know that? 32%. Then, 15 years also incidentally very similar number. Now, 10-year average is 31%, 5-year average is also 30%. Oh, 5-year and 10-year averages are also 30%, 30, 31, 32, thereabouts. So, on an average, 30% of the CA foundation students are passing the exams. So, please note here, CA foundation, 30%. So, if 1000 students join, what is 30% of 1000? 300 students are passing. 1000 are joining, 300 are passing. And please note one more fact, my friends. Here the pass percentage in the last 5 to 6 attempts, when is this from? This is from 20, is on a downtrend. So, is on a downtrend. It is where between, this number is 25 and this number is 30. So, in the latest attempt, we had something around 26 or something, right? So, you see this, it is between 25 and 30. It is touching 30, coming down to 25. So, probably in my estimate, my guess, this percentage, whatever is there, this 5-year average is at 30. I think if you look at it after 5 years, what is the 5-year average? I think it will be between 26 to 28%. It will fall down by 2-3%. It will fall down by 2-3%. Why am I making this bold, outrageous, forward-looking, futuristic statement? You see, there is this reason of new syllabus. One of the things that we have to understand, or at least what I have begun to understand from basing on the way the institute is thinking, there is a certain thought process in the CA Institute's mind that they want to make entries slightly tougher. They have made economics, entire economics is in foundation. By the way, this was the case long ago, 15-20 years ago, when I studied also, entire economics was in foundation. We didn't have an economics in inter. Then they moved certain topics in accounting from inter to foundation. Okay. Then please note, certain topics in law moved from inter to foundation. What does all of this indicate? I know still that certain papers like maths, then you have this paper like economics, which are MCQ based. I know that, I understand that. But even then, their goal is to make it slightly tough. This is my understanding. And see, still the law subject, no? Law still is a theory subject, you have to write. So they, instead of asking you to write something on how to draft a resume in that BCR subject, business correspondence, they are making you now write proper law, which is a proper theory subjects. And why are they doing that? I think this is based on the feedback of the industry that CF, newly qualified CA graduates or freshly qualified chartered accountants probably are not able to meet the standards that are required by the industry with respect to soft skills, communication. When I say soft skills, it includes communication, written skills, speaking skills, ability to present, and ability to understand, assimilate and talk to people. Now, how is talking and this law related? My dear friends, law you have to understand and you have to write. So, if you understand it in your own mother tongue or whatever language it is, if you are not able to write it in the exam and you are not able to reproduce it in the exam properly according to what the examiner wants, you will not be able to clear it. The reason for this also is very simple. Income tax tribunal, GST tribunal, any tax officer, they send you a notice in English. You should be able to understand what they are asking in English and then respond it in with relevant provisions, rules of the law, which is why your case studies, if you remember in case studies in CA intermediate, what they ask you in law and auditing, they give you a case and then they say, please respond how you will look at it. So they are also going to move in that direction, and the direction they are forcing you right from CA foundation. I am not saying that CA foundation also you'll have case study based questions. No. From CA foundation, they are preparing you that you will be able to answer questions comprehensively. You're able to communicate your answer much better. So I think their goal is to actually meet the demands of the industry. Their goal is to meet the demands of the industry, which is asking. See, when a lot of people think that, why industry? Boss, 90% of the people who pass CA go into industry, they don't go into practice. So, this entire thing, see, there is a nice backstory, right? So, their goal is to make it slightly tougher, focus more on communication, focus more on written skills, so that you are well prepared for CA intermediate and CA final, and even the end product, final product is good. Now, coming back. I believe, given the slight toughening of posture at CA foundation level, the pass percentage will slightly come down from this average of 30%, what I am showing you here. I think it will come down 26 to 28 in the course of next 5 years. And we have already seen that in this year. In fact, we have seen that in all 3 attempts. So, you see here, this, they have already begun that journey. In between, I think the November attempts, they are probably having, slightly higher pass percentage, closer to 30. Otherwise, the pass percentage is 26. I think this will go down. And I don't think this is by design that they will always say we have to maintain 20, we have to maintain 26. No, they will slightly increase the toughness of the paper. And automatically, the pass percentage will come down closer to 26, 27. Okay, this is the first analysis. And please note, this entire thing, this line, is the average, 15 or 18 year average, and that is still at 31%. That also will obviously start trending down. But you see, the most important thing that I liked in this entire chart, what I'm able to see here is this shape of this curve. The student count which decreased is now increased. So, despite MCQs being removed across all subjects after that CPT changeover happened in 17, even then there is a increase in student count. This is a very, very good sign if you ask me. And this is very constant also. Please note, it is not as if it is a one attempt and then dip. It is constant. So, there is a lot of good, it is a good sign, very, very good sign. Now, coming same logic to CA Inter. Let us apply same logic to CA Inter. What is happening in CA Inter? CA Inter, I have data from May 2010. 2010 to now, about 13 years. 13-year average pass percentage is 19. Now, please note one thing here, friends. Here, when I am computing pass percentage for CA Inter as well as CA Final, if somebody has finished even one group, I count them as pass. If somebody has finished both groups, then also I count them as pass, because that is how they are giving the results. I need to make interpretation of the results that are given. I cannot create my own new methods and complicate things. So, I am going by simple numbers. This many people, this light blue color shade is what number of people who wrote the exam. Out of that, how many passed that relevant group or both groups. That's all. Right. So, if you look at it, the average pass percentage is 18 to 19%. Now, and if you see this, there is no, it came down sometime in 22. I think that was due to COVID and related stuff. Then it went up, it is here. In this attempt in May 23, the pass percentage was something around 18 or so, thereabouts. 18, 19 or 19 probably, close to 19%. Now, you see this number, I don't think this number is going to substantially change. You see, it has gone multiple ups and downs, but it is very close to the mean. I think this will remain very close to the mean. This will be probably between 18 to 21% going forward. It will not change substantially. It will be in this range for the next 5 years. Again, here what is the reason why I am saying this will be at the same range for next 3 to 5 years? Two reasons. One, they're introducing MCQs at all subjects across CA Inter and CA Final. How is that important? That is important because it will eliminate the subjectivity of the valuers, examiner or the person who is valuing your paper. Their subjective element is taken away. So, they may ask you tough questions in MCQs, but the subjective element, because of which a lot of people had fear that I will fail even if I do well, to a large extent that number is gone, or rather to a large extent that fear is addressed. So, I think the pass percentage will either remain slightly or slightly move up, not beyond that. But one more thing, my friends, because they are trying to make a CA course slightly more market oriented and foundation is slightly going to be made tough, I think CA Inter, they will compensate the toughness of CA foundation with CA Inter, probably, because from foundation, Inter is a huge jump and you're going to learn a lot of subject of corporate law only in CA Inter. Entire company law is going to be learned in CA Inter, right, from what it was there earlier in CA Final. So, I think they will slightly relax the criteria and they will maintain, this 18 to 21% broad range. And the most heartening point to note here as well, right, is the student count. Student count is constant since 21. So, for the last 2 years, student count is constant. And a lot of people have this thing, Arey, CA nobody is joining, CA something is happening, nobody is joining. That's all bullshit. Why? You see CA foundation, numbers are up compared to last 4 years. This is from when 16 to 20 versus 20 to 23. Numbers are up. It is very, very clear. So, the attractiveness of the course has not gone down. In fact, numbers are up. And same way, if you look at CA Inter, ignoring this November 20, which was a COVID related exam at that point of time whenever the exams were held, you ignore this one data point, your student count is pretty static. In fact, of late, if you look at this latest attempt, it has gone up also slightly. It has gone up, right? So, it's a very, very encouraging sign. So, I don't believe in all these people who are saying that, CA is becoming unattractive and all of that. I actually think that a lot more people are joining CA. Right, now this is about CA Intermediate. Now come to CA Final. This is where it is even more interesting. What is the 20-year pass percentage? 20%. What is 10-year pass percentage? 18%. 5-year pass percentage? 20%. So, you see I have data from 2003 and 23. The pass percentage is volatile. I am not saying no, right? But you see the average percentage is between 18 to 20. This also is between 18 to 20%. And the latest attempt was how much? The latest attempt was about 19.6 or something, so approximately 20. And this last 4 attempts from when 20 onwards, this has been well above 20%. So, this I think they have established as a benchmark and I think they will remain at this 20%. They will remain at this 20%. Historically, it has been, the average has been this, it has gone up and down. Again, this COVID is an exception, but if you look subsequently, it is going to remain at 20% is my guess. So, what did we discuss? I said CA foundation, if 1000 people join, 30% are passing, which is about 300 people. CA Inter, if same 300 people come in, what is the pass percentage? 18 to 19%. So, let's take it at 20. Let's take it at 19, 20%. So, these 20% of people are passing. Some are passing one group now, one group next attempt, so on and so forth. Even if you take a very, very liberal number, which is 20%, why am I saying it is liberal? Because there could be a possibility that the number is lower, because I have taken both groups, individual pass also as part of the passing people. So, if somebody has passed one group, then also I am counting them. If somebody has passed group 2, I am counting them. They have passed both groups, then I am counting. So, there is some duplication there. So, to that extent, there is duplication. But even if you consider that, 20% of the people are passing, which is basically 60 students. So, out of this Out of this 300 students, 20% are passing, which is how much? Which is 60. 20% of 300 is 60. So, this number of people are passing. And when it comes to final, these 60 people are going in and the passing rate here also is 20. Again, I have taken duplication, right? In a single, I am talking about first attempt or something about, people in the first 1 or 2 attempts. Out of this 20 people are passing, 20%. What is 20% of 60? About 12, right? 12 people. So, 12 out of 1000 is how much? 1.2%. So, the first point I was telling you, this 1 to 3% of people passing, it is right. It is right. In fact, this is not even 1.2. If you eliminate the duplication, people who are passing in first attempt or people who are passing both the groups together, everything, it will be even less. It may be 0.7, 0.8%. Okay, but if you look at it on a rolling basis, if you have every year on approximately CA Foundation about 1 lakh people joining. Approximately 1 lakh people joining. Right, 1 to 1.2 lakhs. So, if you look at this number, this was 1.5 lakhs. This is an exception, but here it is about 1.2 lakhs. Then here it is lower. So, it was about 80,000, 70,000, 90,000. So, broadly about 1 to 1.5, I will take round number 1 lakh. I will take a round number 1 lakh. I know I am taking low number. For a moment, go with that. Then, about 2 lakh people are writing. Every year 1 lakh are joining, but 2 lakh people are writing inter because a lot of, 70% of them fail or there are direct entries and so on and so forth. In CA final, you hardly have how much? 1 lakh people joining and 20% passing. So, every year the number of fresh chartered accountants that are coming out. So, foundation entry is about 1 to 1.2 lakhs and final exit is about 10,000 per attempt, and this please 1 to 1.2 lakhs is per attempt, per attempt, please note it is per attempt, and exit from final is about 10 to 12,000 per attempt, 10 to 12,000 per attempt. If it is 10 to 12,000 per attempt and 1 to 1.2 lakhs, how many people are passing? So, you basically have 10 to 12,000, very broad number, right? So, about 2 out of 2 lakhs, about 15-20,000 people are passing. So, if you look at it on a rolling basis, 10% of the people are passing. How did I get 10? This 10,000 by 1 lakh or 12,000 by 1.2 lakhs. So, roughly 10% of the people are passing. So, foundation to final exit ratio is 10%. This 1% or 0.7% or 1.2% are people who pass the first time or people who are passing very, very quickly, so on and so forth. But if you look at it on a overall number of basis who are people who are entering into the system and exiting the system, it is roughly about 10%. So, please don't go by this logic that only 1% of the people will pass. 1% of the people will pass in the first attempt, or probably 0.7 or 0.8 will pass in the first attempt. But on a rolling basis, roughly about 10% of the people who are entering into the system every year are coming out. Right. On a cumulative basis, you may have 8 lakh student, 9 lakh student and all of that stuff at any point of time. Right. But the people entry versus exit is 10% roughly. Right. So, this is the analysis, and I have told you about new syllabus also, why I think what is going to happen. I gave you the logic that the industry or the market or the people who are going to be employers want better quality product. So, they are going to make entry slightly tough, and please note, this is the reason why they have tried to reduce the burden of articleship also to 2 years. Why? Because they see that there is a lot of automation in the market. So, a lot of, even at the risk of making enemies out of mid-sized CA firms who used to largely employ articles, who are struggling now for articles, the institute, even though the actions that they take have hurt its base, right, they have still taken it because the employers want people or students who are good. And this entire CA course, right, has become very wide and deep. This is a point I discuss with a lot of people. It has become what? It has become two things, very, very broad and very, very deep. So, you are covering so many things, and each thing you are covering very, very deeply. So, what have they done? In final, they have removed law. Why? So that there are somebody called company secretary, you let them handle law. We will teach law at inter level, that is sufficient. While I slightly disagree with the logic, but I think the logic has some rationale. They have reduced the subjects. They have reduced the subjects from 8 to 6 by removing law. And then they have also removed that elective subject. They have removed SCMPE. So they are making changes so that this entire depth and breadth can be managed by the students. What will that give out? The student will come out with much better understanding of GST, income tax, finance, which is SFM, auditing, accounting, and ability to integrate all of these in a real life scenario, which is what is that? Case study. Case study subject is there now, which is what that is. So the focus is on making a much better employable product. Much better employable product. So which is why I think, given this depth and breadth problem that the institute is facing, I think they have decided to rationalize, and I think this is in right direction. I may not agree with some very specific points, but direction wise I actually agree with them, right? And I think that this pass percentages for CA final and inter will remain there or slightly go up, whereas pass percentage for CA foundation is likely to slightly come down. Okay, and please, anyone who says that in the profession is dying, new students are not entering and all of that, it's all bullshit. I am showing you the numbers here. You see the numbers here, no? This is on an uptick. So anyone who tells you on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, I don't know, wherever, if they say that the numbers are falling, they are wrong. They are wrong because I am showing you the numbers. This is directly taken from ICAI press releases. So please don't believe all these rumors. Please study well. This is a phenomenal course. Of course, there is going to be automation. Of course, there is going to be AI. Of course, there is going to be chat GPT. Of course, there is going to be machine learning. You will work along with it and they will not replace you. Okay, so these are the things I wanted to discuss with you, how these pass percentages are looking like today, in the past, and how they will look like in future, how this whole 1%, 3% passing business looks, and why this pass percentage is relevant. How is it relevant from a new syllabus perspective? I hope you had some learnings from this, and I hope that you continue to love your course, continue to love the subjects that you are studying, and do very well in your career. All the very best. And I trust that you continue to study well, and please share your feedback, comments, thoughts, any kind of views that you have on this entire analysis that we have done. We'll be more than happy. We look to engage with students, and we look to hear other opinions, some different ideas, and then probably all of us can enlighten each other very well. So all the very best, study well, ignore the noise, focus on your exams, and write your exams superbly and clear, and become a chartered accountant.